Okay, this video is about penning and sewing this beautifully pressed hem. I know you all did a perfect job. I know it's all spectacular, and I know you're super thrilled with the work you're doing. At least that's my hope. Don't worry, you're almost done with all the hard parts. So you've got this hem that you've pressed up beautifully. It's double folded, it's a nice clean edge. Now we're gonna pin it and sew it. You wanna start down here on this edge, on the corner. And before you pin it, you wanna make sure everything's nice and lined up. You don't wanna have anything sticking out past that edge, right? Because from the outside of the skirt, you don't wanna see ugliness like that. You just want it to all hide. So make sure everything is lined up and laid in the right place. And you'll pin. This is the thickest part of your skirt hem because there's so many layers right here, but you can do it. Then every few inches, you're gonna put another pin all along this hem. I like to put a couple kind of close together at the beginning, every couple inches right here for the first 3 or 4 pins. And then I start to space it out every 4th pin or so. Now you'll notice that I'm holding it up. That's mostly so y'all can see. I like to lay things down on the flat on the table when I pin. And I hold things still with 2 fingers like this. And I pin right there. It might not be easy the first few times you do it. It might not be a method that works for you, but give it a try. I like it. Do know that it will scratch up whatever table surface you're working on a little bit. So if you're working somewhere where you have a nicely finished table, it's not necessarily a workshop, maybe consider holding your fabric in the air when you pin. Just remember, if you're holding it up to pin it, make sure you're holding this in place well before you pin it. Pins only do you any good if you pin things properly. If you pin things crooked or spaced out, they're not going to do you much good. All right, I'm going to keep doing this all the way across the hem until we get it all pinned. All right, I've got everything pinned all the way down my hem. This goes on forever. I could show you for days, but you guys get the idea. So once you get it all pinned, we're gonna sew it. And you're gonna want your machine on a straight stitch. And we're gonna do just like we did on this side hem over here. To finish off this side edge, we're gonna edge stitch just down here. So you're gonna lay that under the presser foot and drop it down and make sure your needle is hitting where you want it to hit. You can zoom in on that and see. Got that right where I want it. Pretty sure. And we're gonna sew. Now your machine might have some trouble going through this stuff because it's so thick. You might have to walk it by hand with the flywheel. And once you've got it stitched, you can take this pin out of your way. That'll help the bulk reduce some. But I've done my back stitching and I'm ready to just go to town. This is going to be tricky as you sew because you're going to feel like you constantly want to run off the edge. This is a curve, so you've got to constantly be driving and making sure you're getting your stitches on the part you've actually turned up and pressed. If you run off to this side, you're not stitching anything down. If you stay up here on the folded part, you're doing right. If you'll notice, I'm just using this hand to kind of guide the fabric. I'm using these 2 fingers to curve me left and right. So I'm gonna keep sewing and we'll eventually get to the end. One thing you also don't want to do is tug or press any of this. This is, again, a curve, so that bias nature of it will stretch out if you press or pull or try to control it too much. Let the machine do the work and you just drive with your hands. All right, we're getting close to the end here. At this point, you might feel like the old lady in the Titanic. It's been 84 years. It's a really long hem, y'all. But if you're this close to the end, you're almost there. So I've sewn and sewn and sewn, and I'm coming up to the end of my hem. And I'm gonna sew right up to the edge. I'm gonna backstitch. And I'm done. You made it. You sewed all the way across that long hem. Then I want you to pull all of your pins out. Again, going all the way back across this super long hem. I'll spare you the details. But when you've got it done, you should have a very nice hem. You see how it's got a little character quality there, a little waviness? This is why we always press after we sew. So once you've sewn this whole long hem, and once you've taken all your pins out, I want you to go to the iron and give it a good press. And it'll take a lot of those little wrinkles out. And that's it. You have hemmed your skirt.